you're someone who's 18, 24, 27, or even 30, chill out, take a breather. Seriously, life is good. There's nothing to stress about. Every choice you make is gonna be fine. There's outcomes and good outcomes or bad outcomes, doesn't matter, the sun's gonna keep shining. So every choice you make, do it with positivity, because the sun's still gonna shine tomorrow.
Hello.
Hey, bud.
You must be James Elliot.
I am James Elliot, how are we?
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Such a great venue, to be honest.
It is a very, very sick venue. Welcome to the Garden Project, man.
They have it's perfect for like sundowners and stuff.
It is a perfect venue for sundowners, perfect range of venue for absolutely anything, happy hours, brunches.
Do they have any events here, don't I?
We do a Friday night here. Noisy does. We do a sick evening
so
brunch.
You do some of them here?
Yeah, that's what I do. I do, yeah. But it's under a company. Oh, what is this gift?
A welcoming gift.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate this.
From our partner Souvenir.
Thank you.
What are the benefits of doing an entertainment business in the UAE?
Loads of things. I think being able to have a business, let alone in the UAE, is incredible. The opportunities that you get here are endless. Because like it said, it's a growing city, it's a young city. And the hardships of it are the struggles of like, it's super trendy and it's still going up. But you are just faced with such incredible tourism backed by the UAE itself, right? You have the most incredible tourist attractions, which in itself, the UAE as a nation brings so much tourism here that you don't have to rely on needing tourists to come, right? So you're adding to the benefit in itself when you do an event here, right? If you have the right event and the right event concept, and you have loads of tourists coming down to this country, and you throw something that tourists want to attend, then you're in a key stage there. You're in a really good green phase that I would like to say that everyone's profiting. The hospitality companies, the venues are profiting, you're profiting, the government, the city, the country, the tourist in itself, everyone's winning.
But the competition must be really hard though, because there's events everywhere, there's something new every day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So the market is very saturated in that sense. You've got loads of people who haven't grown up here and people that have just come from all parts of the world and have popped up within 6 months and think that they could do that exact same business model that I've had in their country and implement it here, but it doesn't really work that way because it's so different here. Like I said, events have shelf lives. Yeah. So they tend to just like, people just fade. Like people get bored quick because they always want something new. And that's the case, right? So people are like who do move out here, promoters that do move out here, they struggle on certain things, which is thinking that this event brand is going to work here because it worked there back in my country, but it didn't. It won't, right? It's a complete different audience. Dubai is so international that like you've got people like nowhere else in the world as international as Dubai, in my opinion. Like I've never lived in anywhere else that is as international as Dubai. You've got guys from all over the planet here, from Europe, America, Asia, Africa, like everywhere. So you're trying to find the balance in events that cater to all these different audiences, right? Yeah. So you got to come up with a concept or a theme or put on entertainment that will have all these type of nationalities enjoying that one event. And that comes down to putting the right entertainment, the right music, the right choreography, the right food or the right beverages or just the overall atmosphere. Yeah, the right theme. And I think that's something that we do well at Noisy. And with my other partners in different ventures too, and their businesses. And I think if you're in this market now and your events are working and you've got a staple, then you're doing the right thing. You know, you're obviously doing the right thing. And I think you'll be doing it better than everyone. Because if you have a busy brunch or you have a busy pool party or you got a busy ladies' night, that's so hard to do. It's not, you can't just do that. You can't just randomly pick it up like that. It takes 6 months, in my opinion, 6 months to like really get it going, you know? One of my famous brands or brunches that we used to do back in the day was Hidden at Cavo. And that took us a good 9 weeks, I'd say, before that really boomed. And that was a long time ago.
Does it cost you like during that nine weeks period?
Sorry?
Does it like affect you? in terms of cost.
It does massively, of course, because you still, as a promoter or an event organizer, have to invest in paying all those things that are into that. You still have to pay for the DJ, the photographer, the videographer. You got salaries to keep up with, you know, and the venue costs as well. And the venue in itself are putting out spreads that are costing them.
Yeah.
So and the marketing costs, let alone, right? You've got to spend so much on ad budgets. But at the end of the day, this is what I mean. A lot of people look at events and promoters like ourselves and think it's super easy to just
start something,
be an event promoter. It's not. It takes a lot. And it takes a lot of social, mental, and physical, and everything really out of you. But if you do it right, and you work with the right people, and you don't put your fingers in too many pies, then you'll be sweet. And you just need the right concept. That's the biggest key. It's just keeping a concept as entertaining for all these different audiences, and then it will work. You know, that's, I think, the main point there, yeah.
Your business.
Yeah.
What struggles did you have to start it?
Oh, I think...
I mean, you did obviously have a huge background in it, but like...
Yeah, I mean, working in events, I started this business from the ground up. COVID times, I was able to understand a lot from an actual corporate side of doing events to just a house party type of doing events. I was like doing house parties for people here since I was 16, and being able to have fun, throwing those type of parties. And it's never really monetizing it when you were that young, but then get into that COVID period where it's like, oh, it's real now. You're an adult. Yeah. You have to pay rent. You know, you got to pay bills. It all starts coming in, so it's not a joke anymore. You know, it's real life. I think for me was figuring out how to balance the money as much as possible at the beginning. Because again, when you're that young and you start doing events, you'll make a good bit of cash from doing it. Don't get me wrong, if your event is successful, if you've got enough people through that door and they enjoy the brand, they enjoy the party, you're gonna make some good cash off it. And I think for me, it was less of putting the money into the business, but more on let's just keep partying, right? Let's just, every bit of cash that we earned, we stopped looking at what would like profit us more, but we would just invest a lot more into the actual party. So we would just buy so many useless props, things. Don't get me wrong, saying useless props is probably the wrong word, but props are very important. You know, the theme of your party is very important. The feel and the environment that you have in a party or in an event is important, right? But again, we would just spend things that were just so unnecessary.
I feel like it's gonna be difficult, especially for someone at a young age, to balance business with life, since we have loads of distraction.
And I was blessed enough to have a business partner, and like I mentioned, my mentor, Ben, who came in and he taught me so many things. You know, he taught me what mattered in terms of spending your money here, in terms of not spending your money there. And I think I was able to learn over the entire amount of time what the right investments are with the events. And that came down to service, and then it came down to marketing, you know? We'd spend a lot of money on useless PR posts that probably no one would read. Whereas nowadays, we invest a lot into ads, Meta, right? And that would gain, and again, you have to be smart with your ads. You have to use the right keywords, and the ad people or the ad agency, or if you do it yourself, take a course. But that really is what matters nowadays in terms of ads, you know? And don't get me wrong, a lot of people around the world, they'll just try and use like normal ads that are just what works. What works here in Dubai is very niche. Dubai is a very trendy city, right? It's probably the most trendy city. So it's hard for us to keep up nowadays with what Dubai likes, because it's so trendy that, you know, you never know, right? Something could just be a croissant that is dipped in chocolate, or it's like a Dubai pistachio thing. That would be a huge trend, and then a year later that would die. And then this would be some sort of a market.
Yeah, there's always something new going on.
There's just something new always happening, right? And that is like Dubai. Every event in Dubai has a shelf life, in my opinion. It's always got a shelf life. You've got to keep it exciting. You've got to keep it like flowing. You got to keep, and I think that's where Ben was able to teach me all those things. he taught me what to focus on and what mattered in these aspects. And then over the years, I've been able to just develop that myself and just keeping up with the right markets. And I got really good at it. And I've been able to teach the current team that I have now how to apply it. And it's just how we're moving. So, yeah.
If someone looks at your life now, what will they think about you?
My life now, I don't know. I do a lot of events around Dubai, so I think because I'm always out doing parties and being in such social environments, people look at me like I'm living a really crazy and fun lifestyle. I'd say, a fun lifestyle. I think that's what people look at me as, fun.
Okay, yeah, fun.
Yeah, definitely fun.
What's something they always misunderstand about you?
Misunderstand about me? Ooh, yeah. I think again, it's just going back to that fun statement. They think I'm too fun, but at the same time, there's a lot of work that goes behind what I do. A lot of things that go behind the closed doors.
How do you think about your life when you're alone?
How do I think about my life when I'm alone? When I'm alone, I'm blessed. I can't ask for more. I'm happy where I am. I'm just going with the flow now and everything that's present. I don't have, I'm happy. That's what I am.
Do you feel like you're hiding under a mask when you go out? And obviously, like you do events and nightlife scene gets a lot of exhaustion.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of you.
It does take a lot out of me. It does take a lot of money. I mean, having to be in events, you have a certain amount of social battery, right? And because of that social battery, you're always putting on a smile here and there and laughing about, trying to be the guy who's the light in the room. And it gets to a certain point when you do go home, you're just energy, emotionally, physically, I think chaotically just drained. So you end up just sitting down and just being the quiet person. I think the friends and family that I have around me in those personal moments obviously understand that, the very close ones understand that I do put on a lot of social energy to my work. And when I'm at home, it's a very
Does it affect your life outside work?
It does. In many ways, it does. It does. Personally, I've not been able to see my family as much as I would love to because I'm always needed to be here, there, everywhere. But it does get to a moment where it's completely fine. And my family understand that there's a job to do at the end of the day.
They're understandable of the situation?
Yeah, everyone understands the situation, even my close friends. And that's one thing. One of my close friends they're very good supporters of my events. They're always at every single one of the events, whether or not it's a weekly or a monthly or a daily.
They're always there.
They're always there. They're always there supporting, and it's a great thing, yeah.
What's a moment that affected you the most when you were younger? Something that happened when you were younger that you still carry the effect to it till today?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I didn't get bullied. That's the wrong thing to say. I wouldn't say bullied. But it's a moment that led me into getting into events. Definitely, that's the reason I'm in events, is because I had a group of mates. There was about 5 of us, still my brothers and my best friends till today. And at the age of 13 and 12, I know that sounds very young, but growing up in a city like this, everyone wanted to explore a lot more. We'd always want to party. We'd always see things on social media or on TV or anything online, and we just want to be that. So we developed growing up faster, I'd say. And it got to a point where our weekends consisted of just hanging around a skate park and things like that, whereas the guys would always pressure me into wanting better plans. So I remember being around 13 or 14 years old and the guys always blaming me like, why don't we have a better plan this weekend? Why are we not doing this?
You've taken all the pressure.
I've taken all the responsibility is what's happened. I've taken all the responsibility, and I think that moment in itself has actually put me in a status where it's controlled my life. It's created me to who exactly I am today, now doing events.
You've been managing events since day one, basically.
Day one, since I was a kid, basically, just planning all the weekends, planning all the plans, and making sure that everyone's having a good time. That's everything I do.
What's something you wish you had at the time?
At that age, I don't know, to be honest with you. That's it's a good question. Something
like now with the knowledge you have.
Something now?
Not something you know now that you wish you had before.
Something I know now that I wish I had before. I wish I believed in Bitcoin a little bit more. That'd probably be the answer.
I think everyone does.
I think everyone would know, but I think just trusting people. I think being around too many people at the same time and being a people's person, you tend to just lend your hand out a lot more. and you always end up trusting as many people as you can, and you buy into people. And I think that's where I got a bit carried away, is where I put a lot of time and effort into people that didn't give me the same time and effort back, in which...
So you wish you valued your time more.
That's probably the right way to say it. Yeah, that's definitely what I would say. But I mean, live and learn, you know? And it's just one step at a time, still a journey going ahead. I still have tomorrow to look after. And we keep going, and we keep going.
Who's the person who had the most influence in you? And what did he or she change in you?
Oh, it's another very good question. Ben Thompson, I'd say. He's my mentor, Ben Thompson. Before I started Noyzy and how Noyzy became about, he owned a company called Love Parties, and he brought me into his business as a partner. And he taught me everything I knew, absolutely everything I knew from the ground up, from business models to finance to operations to service to logistics, to absolutely everything. I think he catered me into being who I am definitely today in terms of business. But I also thank my father, of course. You know, my father has made me the character I am. Without my father teaching me all the social aspects of life, I definitely wouldn't be that bubbly person, the light of the room when you'd walk into a room. And, you know, I also thank my current business partner today, because he's taught me a lot more as well in the current world that we're in. And he always taught me there's a brighter tomorrow. It's always going to be fine. You know, you don't have to worry about every little problem that happens. Everything is just going to get better and better and better. The sun's still going to shine. You can't hold onto that dark little path that we've gone through, I guess.
So yeah. Always look the best in every situation.
Always look the best in every situation. I think those are the three important people I got: mentor, business, family, and
the best in the ship.
Yeah, those are the guys who made me who I am. Definitely the three guys: Hodges, Ben Thompson, and my father, Keith Elliot.
What was the hardest period you went through?
The hardest period I went through in my life. Do you know, I started living alone when I was 14.
You were living alone?
Living alone when I was 14. So I think I grew up in Dubai. I went back to Madrid, where I'm from, and I started living alone there. I didn't get on. I was terrible at school. Like, I was the worst kid you could ever ask for in school. And funny enough, a lot of my customers nowadays are teachers. So it's kind of like a catch-22. But yeah, no, I was a terrible kid in school. I would just never wanted to learn anything. I liked listening to what I only had, what I wanted to do. And I got into this position where I started living alone. I didn't listen to anyone. I started disregarding what my mom would say. I started disregarding what my dad would say. And I always thought I was above everyone.
You always thought you were the best?
Yeah, I always thought like I was the right person. You know, I thought my opinion was valid. I didn't think anyone else's. I thought I had the right choice to make. No one else, I didn't have to listen to anyone else. And then it got to a stage where a lot of those decisions that I made that everyone tried to teach me, say like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, caught up back to me. And it got to my head massively. It got to my head massively. It put me in a hole where I had to start borrowing money from some people. You know, I ended up...
You end up digging a hole for yourself.
Digging a massive hole, you know? And later on, and this is again from the ages 14 to 18, this is me living alone. Yeah. And then get into an 18-year-old state, which is crazy because who is 18 at that time facing these type of problems, you know? But I faced it and I went through it and I learned a lot from it, and I was lucky enough to go back to my family and always, like, you know.
You go back in time, would you change that?
If I could go back in time, no. No, I'd still be that same guy. Because I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with you. I wouldn't have the events that I have, the opportunities I have, the connections I've made, the people I know, you know, the venues and the hospitality companies I have the pleasure of working with. I wouldn't have any of these opportunities.
Did you lose something that you regret during that period? Or in general, did you end up losing anything during that period?
Maybe besides my dignity, maybe. But nah, man. It was just a lot of partying. In general,
can be a friendship, can be.
I've lost a lot of people in the way, like loads. Friends will always come and go. I always say this: the ones who really love you and support you, and I think a lot of people know this and understand this, that they'll be there. They'll stick with you through the hard times, through the good times, throughout any moments that you have. And the fake ones will always just come and go. But it gets to a point where I can't see friends as being a loss, you know? Yeah. The ones who are with me now are family to me. I don't consider people I just know as friends. I think they're family. That's where I was saying back to earlier, where I put a lot of trust into people and things like that. So I've just built more of a barrier now. It's harder for a person to get into the circle that I'm in and be around the group that I'm with, rather than just saying someone's a friend, you know?
So it's as in anyone who basically you're in contact with right now, like very close contact is a family?
Is family to me, technically, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously not blood related, but it's, to me, that's considered family. You know, I'll put the same burdens on them as I would on my family, and the same, if they had any issues, I'd be there for that.
How long did it take you to recover from this whole situation, to feel like you're stable again?
I mean,
when you realize what you're doing was wrong?
Well, what I was doing wrong. I don't know, it was just growing up, man, to be honest with you. It was growing up. You know, you pay your debts off. That's the big thing. Number one is just addressing the problems that you created and making sure that you've learned from the mistakes you've made. And just trying to fix, you can't fix everything so quickly. I think that's one thing that's so misunderstood nowadays, is that everyone tries to fix a problem without waiting for the time to heal, or whether it's an emotional problem or a physical problem.
You just want to rush to the end without the process.
Yeah, you know, like, and there's always going to be a period in the time where you need to kind of let someone or something heal or have a bit of time towards it. You can't just fix it. You know, it's not as simple to just fix something, and a lot of people just want something like that. I'm one of those people that just want something rapidly. Like, if I ask for something done work-wise from a team member, an employee, I'm expecting it to get done immediately, right? But that's a different regard. I mean emotionally, physically, with family and things like that, or even people that I've fallen out with. You have to allow time for that to heal again. You know, you can't just fix it. You can't ask someone to rush something that they may not feel comfortable with.
So you have to believe in the process, basically.
That's it. You got to believe in the process, man. And I mean, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's meant to be fixed, it's meant to be fixed.
When did you realize that you had enough of your old life, and you had to make a change? Like, you realize this is not working, like what I'm doing is wrong, and I had to change this whole thing? Or what happened that made you get awaken and see this is not working?
I think it was a scenario, man. I just had to grow up. I think that's the biggest thing. I just had to grow up. I had to, my family were in different parts of the world. My dad was living in Saudi at the time. My family were back in Spain, and I was in Dubai. And I was given an amazing opportunity to work with an events company out here that still is out here right now, and they're doing amazing parties and brunches. And I got the opportunity with working with them, and COVID happened. You know, and I think COVID affected a lot of people.
Especially in your industry, took a big hit.
It was a huge hit, you know, man, and hospitality, and I think not just hospitality, but any trade service type of work, it's under it. The first industry is always, when something goes wrong to go, will be hospitality.
Entertainment in general.
That is the one. It's the first industry. That's it, chaotically gone. And I feel so bad. Like, I mean, just now, recently, we've had this war, right? Yeah. And in the war, hospitality took a little bit of a dip, but we're luckily blessed in a country like the UAE that brings hospitality rapidly back and tourism rapidly back. I think it's actually one of the only countries in the world that's able to just snap their fingers and just make things good again. You know, whereas, like, I think if this happened to another country in Europe, it would take another 2 years to get tourism back. I think people would still feel afraid, you know, that not as enough marketing would go into advertising that Dubai is actually that safe. But I think it was that. I went through that COVID period. Everyone lost a lot of jobs, and I unfortunately resigned from mine, and I thought this was a moment where I could just use this opportunity, create something that I could in this little reset, I think, that was happening in the economy. And it was a moment to start. I think that was a moment to start for me.
What are the things you had to sacrifice to keep going? Like, say for example, especially at a young age, you still see people go out all the time.
Yeah.
Random days of the week, where the days you have to work, and people still going out. Do you feel like bad for not doing that?
I mean, look.
Obviously, you're in the event industry, but managing an event is different than being in an event.
That's true. And I mean, I've done it for so long now. I've been doing events technically since I was like 15. But growing up in this and the amount of time I think doing it, the amount of years I've been doing it, the social part of me is kind of done. I think being that life and soul of the party is coming slowly to its end, of me having to be out every single night and partying and trying to connect with as many people as I can. It's a young man's game. It's got to be a young man's game, you know? And I've luckily enough established myself in the market where I'm known in that sense, right? And people know the brand.
Yeah.
But I don't have to physically go out there and meet new people and try to convince new people to come to the events. And I think
You already have your name
I've
out
already
there.
got that. Luckily enough, I'm blessed enough to have that. And thanks to all the supporters that have been going to these events, you know, and it's gotten to that state now where I'm just lucky to have that, man. And
You're maturing at a young age.
yeah, definitely.
Maturity
definitely.
at a young age.
It's needed, I think, man. If I was going out every night like that, some people who can't do it, trust me, I think anyone who's out 7 nights, 7 days of the week, 24 hours just partying, it's gonna take a toll on you. It's gonna take a toll on you mentally, it's gonna take a toll on you physically. And yeah.
What's something you truly believe in, but a lot of people disagree?
Ooh, what is something I truly believe in that everyone probably disagrees with? Drinking is fun. Partying is fun, you know? Like, I think nowadays a lot of young kids are stuck behind their phones. You know, like,
it's a socializing,
it's a
basically.
socializing, man. Like, there's kids I know now that are just stuck in the house, don't even see each other with their mates on a bike or a skateboard or go in the park and hang out. They'll just be stuck behind a screen, playing a video game here and there. They forget what it's like to be social. You know, they maybe see each other in school, but even in schools are using iPads to keep kids connected.
You do after schools before. Like,
Yeah, and that was it, you know? Back in like 10 years ago, like 15 years ago, I'd see kids going behind a McDonald's, you know, and hanging out there and trying to get up to no good or being out with friends, going up to a mall, watching a movie, you know, and struggling together to do things, to create plans in those moments, you know? And nowadays, I don't know, kids just are, I guess, scared for the future in what we do in hospitality, because kids don't like to socialize as much anymore, you know? They like staying segregated from each other.
So that's actually fine.
Maybe make a plan once or twice a month to hang out, whereas me and my boys and my friends, I'd be with them absolutely every single moment of the day. You know, finish school with them.
Exactly. Go back to school again.
Back to school with them, you know, weekends happen.
Weekend
with them.
sleepovers as well.
Everything, you know, it's just, you'd create that family that you made then and there. So that's where I go back to the thing that friends to me, like my lads, my group of lads, they're probably the most important thing to me, because they've been there through thick and thin, hands down.
Do you feel achieving your goals and becoming successful makes you lose people around you?
I think I've achieved a lot of things that I said I was wanting to do. That's definitely for sure. I mean, I remember being like 12, I think it was, and there was a after movie that came out, and I remember watching it on YouTube, and we were all in school. We're using a school computer in the library, watching this little YouTube video, and it was Tomorrowland. I think it was like 2011 or 12, the after movie. I think it was like the most viewed one ever. And I remember watching that, and I was just like, I want to do that. Like, I remember, I want to go to that party, you know, I want to have a great time and all these things. And it got to a place where I actually, it's my life, you know? Yeah. And I think it got to stages where I've never had the opportunity of throwing an event in Spain or being a part of things like that, or working with incredible artists, DJs who are residents in Ibiza or internationally known, brands that are internationally known.
But did you end up losing anyone in that process?
Throughout that process? Yeah, I've lost loads. But
do you agree with the saying of achieving your goals, you'll have to lose people? Because a lot of people say to become successful, you'll end up losing.
Do you know what? I think that people that you lose on that way and aren't happy for you are meant to be lost anyway. You know?
They're not meant to be there.
They're not meant to be there. Because if you got a goal in your head and that person is meant to be your friend or your family member or whatever it is, they're meant to support you. So no matter what you go through, they have to be there to understand what you're doing. This is my job. This is what I'm trying to achieve. And if I'm your friend, I'm going to be there with you to try and help you achieve that. Whatever shape or form, whether I can support by just even being there or doing a post up on Instagram or even just telling another friend about it or word of mouth. It's just being there as support. I think that's the number one thing in life, I guess, if you're trying to start a business. is having that type of friends around you. And if those are people that you lose along the way, they weren't meant to be
Whenever
there.
you actually lost is not a loss.
I've lost a few.
But there never was a loss.
But there was never a loss. You know, at the end of the day, if they ain't here, sorry for them. Matter of fact, sorry for them, you know? They're missing out on what's coming, you know? And there's a lot more that we've got in store. And only are we getting better every year, only are we getting stronger every year and getting new audiences and working with bigger brands, better venues. I mean, right now, Solutions Leisure is a venue like this, and I've had the absolute pleasure of working with these guys. They're definitely, in my opinion, the best hospitality company in Dubai. Definitely up there. And you know,
a lot of successful people say that, especially for young men to achieve, they should not be in a relationship. What's your opinion?
In a relationship?
Because they think that a lot of people say, being in a relationship while you work on yourself is gonna ruin you.
Okay, so I've faced a scenario like this, definitely in the past. Look, through and through, I'm a relationship guy. Yeah. I believe in the concept of love. I definitely do. I think you want to have a partner. No one wants to be alone and not have that beautiful emotion or share that, I guess, feeling with somebody else. I think everyone deserves a partner, and I think everyone should have a partner in their life. But I also think that if you have a partner in this moment where you're trying to achieve your ambition, your partner's got to also kind of go back to that same phrase as a friend, where she's got to understand you're trying to do what it takes to get to somewhere. But I also believe in the fact that if you do have a partner in this state, you got to understand that you can't get out of hand trying to achieve your ambition that would upset your partner. You got to also understand that your partner is a part of the journey.
So it's more about who are you with.
Yeah, it really comes down to that. Everyone's different. Every relationship is different, in my opinion. Everyone has their own memories together. It's very hard to say, but all I know is if I'm in a relationship, me personally, and I'm going through it, my partner's got to understand that this is the goal. Yeah. She's there to help me.
But it's
get
difficult
to
with your kind of events, though.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. Being in events, you'll be surrounded by incredible amounts of people, you know, and very good-looking and attractive people at the same time. But if it's love, right? Yeah. You know, you can't let yourself get too tempted into different temptations, if that makes sense.
That was a good one. What's something you're struggling with?
Well, you go from like good questions to absolutely scary ones there, man. Something I'm struggling with, what, right now?
Something you're struggling with that no one sees.
That no one sees?
No one can see it. But deep down, it's actually like taking a big part of you.
I think I need to learn when to slow down. I think that's something I struggle with massively, is the fact that I always get too carried away. But only recently I've started to learn not to get carried away. And in that sense, it's everything. It's with friends, it's with family, it's with money, it's with ambition. If I love that idea, I'm going to invest into it. I'm going to put so much time and effort into trying to make that idea happen, if that makes sense. And I think that's where I need to really take it down a notch, and not put my finger into too many pies, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I've learned that already in the past. Like I've tried dipping into different ventures and getting involved with loads of different business partners and themes and concepts. And I think the main thing for me is just learning to just take a moment, breathe, slow down for a second, and just understand that you still have tomorrow to think about this, you know?
Is there something about yourself you're still trying to understand?
Is there something about myself that I'm still trying to understand?
Something you're doing, probably. You haven't realized why till now. I'm sure there's plenty.
I think there's loads, man. I think I'm trying to figure out what I want, you know?
What, though?
Like, in a sense that I've achieved events that I could have never dreamed of achieving, or working with people that I've never could have dreamed of working with. You know, it's always been a dream of mine to work with a venue like O Beach, let alone that's where we do a pool party every Friday, La Fiesta. But it's honestly, and I've achieved those type of heights. I've got to work with the likes of them, and it's just always one step. You always want more. And I think for me, it's trying to figure out when is it enough? When do you just like rein it down and go, right, events-wise, you've done it there. The absolute goal for me, and I think events-wise, is to throw a huge festival. You know, I think that's every promoter's dream, is having a brand that you're capable of selling out 300,000 people to, you know, throwing an absolute Glastonbury type of event. But it's hard to, I guess, achieve that now with where I'm at. But that is the ultimate goal. I think that's the ultimate destination of where I'm at. And I feel that even though I may achieve something like that, I feel like I'm still gonna want more. And that's when you gotta go, like, what's next?
What's
you know,
next?
like, what do you really want out of this? Is it, I don't need the money anymore. I don't need that anymore. I don't need, it's just what makes me happy. And I think also being in these environments and events-wise, partying with so many people and getting out of hand and, you know, just creating so many incredible memories and partying with so many people that, you know, are influential or celebrity rated or they're an athlete or just anyone in general, you end up getting to a point where it's like, what makes you happy anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Like you find
You've done it all.
You've done it, you've kind of done it all, right?
Yeah.
And you get to a point where it's like, you need to start appreciating the small things again. Yeah. And it's hard to do that, if that makes sense. And I think that's where I'm trying to just come back to myself and go, the small things really matter.
Do you feel like you're becoming the person you always wanted to be?
I believe so. I know. It's funny. I feel like I'm learning something about myself every day. Every day. I feel like I'm looking in the mirror and I question myself and I go, yeah, that's new. You know, like just small things like that, you know, like, yeah.
If everything disappears tomorrow, what's something you'll still hold in value?
If everything disappears tomorrow, what's something I'm gonna hold in value? Memories. I mean, memories. That's all I got, man. We got one life on this planet, right? Yeah. Past is the past, present is the gift, tomorrow's the future. But like in reality, man, time is everything, right? Yeah. And what I value the most is every time I've spent. I mean, being able to know that I've cracked a mad smile with that person, or I've been able to give 300 people the time of their life on a Friday day, you know, and the next day you're waking up and then they're all just texting you and they're praising you and they're saying, hey man, thank you so much for that evening, you know, really appreciate that event and, you know, thank you for inviting us down. And I think that's the most important thing it as a promoter or as an events person is just remembering why you were doing it.
Oh, that's how you know you're doing a good job anyways.
You know, yeah, it's exactly it. That's the result. And when you get that sort of praise, I mean, there's no other feeling like it. I mean, it's better than any alcohol beverage or it's better than any feeling in the world or any thrill. It's an amazing feeling just knowing that you've been able to give these guys a really, really good time. The reason
behind someone's happiness.
You know, and it's that. You've given those people a memory that they can now walk off with forever. And some people will forget because they would have gotten carried away with themselves, but some people will remember, you know, and a lot of photos are taken at these events and a lot of Instagram stories and a lot of memories are created, but yeah.
What kind of person do you truly want to be?
You know, with the event side of things, I just want to be a family guy. As much as it's weird to say, it just, again, it goes without saying that there is a certain amount of a social battery that every human could, I guess, have. You can't go out and expect to keep putting on that energy and that smile, and it just drains you sometimes. So, you know, that's where it also goes back to the question of understanding when it's to call it quits. And for me, to call it quits is once I've achieved what I wanted to achieve in the event side of things, I just want to go back to the small things and focus on me, and which is finding the right person and then starting a family and just having that very, very dream scenario of a villa and, you know, the car and the wife and the 2 kids and the driving to school, dropping your kids off and, you know,
simple life.
Just a simple life. I think that's what a lot of people forget. Like once you've had it there and if you experienced partying there, you just rein it down a bit. You just want to Go back to
quiet.
that beautiful, quiet, simple life.
Yeah. What's something you wish you could say out loud to people?
What is it? Get outside your house. Don't sit at home. Why? Why sit at your home? Stop trying to be that person who just wants to sit inside, watch TV 7 days a week after you've had a 9-to-5 job. Get outside on a weekend. I'm not saying every single night. I'm just saying treat yourself once or twice a week.
What do you want to say for the youth?
For the youth,
For the youth.
I say ditch social media. That's what I would say. Say ditch social media, go meet your mates. You know, that's the biggest thing.
Just get out.
Just get outside and do something. Because kids are, I don't know where our future is going into with this generation coming up, but get outside, man. Go ride a skateboard, go rollerblading, go down the beach, surf, you know, do something, play football, like anything. But go connect with your mates, because nowadays connecting with your mate is just a click away. And that's what's really killing, I guess, the youth, in my opinion.
If you could say something to your younger self right now, what would you say?
If I could say something to the younger self that I've got, don't change. Do everything you did. Absolutely everything. Be the exact same person you are now and invest in Bitcoin. Invest in Bitcoin.
You really regret not investing in
really
Bitcoin?
do. Dude, there's a mad story here because I remember this is when I was living alone.
Yeah.
And then I had a mate with me and we used to live alone together. It was just two of us in the apartment. We're both at the same age, like 15 at that time. And I remember we're looking at Bitcoin like, what the hell is some stupid thing that you could buy online and you could buy a pizza with it. I remember one of us just like, how do we do it? How do we just do it? We would love a pizza, you know? Never did it. And it's just such a regret not doing it, you know? Just seeing guys now with absolute caked 500 millions to just one big regret. One big regret. Because it was on the radar. That's the thing. It was there. It was there. It was like we could have just put that cash in and just like let it go. And it's just, yeah, it's just one of those things.